I'd rather have my name written in the Lamb's Book of Life than in the history books here on planet Earth. Not to say that I deserve that in any way, shape, or form, but at the same time, it's not about pleasing people, it's about pleasing God. And if you do that, people are going to turn against you. And that's fine. You just have to be okay with that. And that's walking through where he says, be bold and be courageous. That's what I'm going to do because what he thinks is more important than what people think. And if that loses me business, I don't care. God will still provide, man.
Welcome back to the Falls Home Front podcast, where we talk about real estate, leadership, service, and people shaping Wichita Falls and North Texas. I'm your host, Tim Lockhart. I'm a retired Air Force officer, a realtor, and someone who believes that faith, discipline, and service still matter. Today's guest is someone I've been looking forward to having on. Tommy Richardson is a Marine, a retired Navy SEAL, and a leadership consultant and elite strength athlete. But more importantly, he's someone who's lived through pressure most of us only read about. We're going to talk about adversity, resilience, faith, leadership, and what it really means to perform when the stakes are high. Tommy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Glad to be here.
You spent nearly 3 decades in the military, in the Marine Corps Infantry and the Navy SEALs, combat deployments across the globe. Looking back now, what was the hardest season of adversity that truly reshaped you, and not just survived, but changed who you became?
Wow, that's a tough one, man. And it's funny because I can't really say it's a season. The season would be my life. Because it's one of those things where if you're a threat to an enemy, they keep knocking at your door when they keep wanting to attack you. And that's the very real enemy and the devil that we have. And it seems like it's just been one trial and tribulation after another, right? Growing up, childhood adversity to the point to where I wanted to end it all, right? And then flipping the switch, hearing the Holy Spirit talk to me, which I was too ignorant and prideful to know about back then, but now understanding that was the first time that he was really hollering at me to say, hey, look, I've got something bigger for you. I need you to just not go ahead and do that. And it was just one trial and one tribulation after another. Each deployment, each things at home, it was one thing after the other. So honestly, man, I can't take it to one season. I can say the greatest turn and the greatest decision I ever made was to accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior. And then that's really when the attacks started or kicked back up, because apparently I was going to be a threat, but I'm happy to be that. Chief sinner and falling short of the glory 100%. If life was fair, I'd be up on a cross right now. But it's through his grace and everything that he did and all the good work that he did and dying on that for us that I'm able to do anything that I can for him, for the glory, for the kingdom, man. So it's just a matter of you choose your own adventure of which piece of adversity that's helped shape me. But I think every trial and every tribulation, everything that I've had to overcome, one thing leads to another, and it's a forging process. And in the end, hopefully you're that blade or that axe that's sharp enough and hard enough to say, for him to be able to tell you, well done, good and faithful servant.
Oh, wow. That's a great story. Yeah. And that's true. It follows all through all the different areas of our life.
Yeah.
You talk about chasing the pressure instead of avoiding it, and that's countercultural today. Most people are trying to get comfortable. What does real mental toughness actually look like outside of combat for a business owner, a parent, or someone going through a hard transition?
Sure. Now, what's funny is it's the exact same tools that you use in combat are the same things that people use on a day-to-day basis, man, just trying to get through. You talk about chasing comfort. Therein lies the devil in that right there, okay? The Bible says that we are supposed to work. We're supposed to be able to, it's not good for a man to lay idle because no hands in the devil's playground. So we're supposed to work. So it's just the enemy saying, hey, you deserve more, you are owed this, and you don't have to do things that are hard. The thing is that narrow is the path and small is the door, right? So it's one of those things where if you want to achieve greatness, if you want to be that thing that you were meant to do, you are going to have to do hard things. Okay. And honestly, the harder the things that you chase, the greater the glory is going to be at the end. right? It's the same thing as choosing faith, right? Once you choose Jesus, you did not just sign up for a life of ease. You just signed up for pain. I tell people when I'm talking to them, especially business owners, be the one that chases the gunfire, because that completely makes absolutely no sense, right? But at the same time, not necessarily running towards gunfire, even though that's the profession that I chose. You can do that in a whole bunch of different ways. And that's literally just chasing the hard thing, or that thing that you are so worried about and so stressed out about. That's the thing that you should absolutely chase. He tells you to cast all your worries on him anyways. And you got to think too, nothing good comes from worrying. Fear, false evidence appearing real. And he says, do not fear in some form or another 365 times in the Bible, right? One for every day. So guess what? Don't be afraid. Worry does nothing but get you down and tear you down. Just take things one day at a time, one step at a time. Go meal to meal if you have to. That was a technique we used at Hell Week. And break the day down and know that there's going to be an end, and that you've currently, as of this day, if you are living and breathing, you have survived 100% of the hardest days of your life. So whatever it is that you did, keep going.
That's great. What habits build toughness?
Chasing hard things. The thing is that I'm not saying don't rest, recover, regenerate, because that's absolutely a thing, right? You can't, I call it the supernova effect. And we have a lot of military vets or military service members had this problem where they burn it down and the star burns its brightest just before it dies. They teach you how to go, but they don't teach you how to rest, recover, and regenerate. Understanding that if you're at 100% and you go, you're 100%, slowly you're going to become 80%. And then that just lowered your baseline. But if you rest, recover, regenerate, you got to come back up to it, right? Good habits are planned rest, recover, regenerate, but that's only after you've been grinding and going at it hard. I'm not saying it's earned. It's got to be planned, part of your routine, because you have to attack, especially for CEOs and business owners. They work 24/7, especially if you're an entrepreneur. You never stop working. So you actually have to plan in time to rest, recover, regenerate, recharge those batteries, spend time with the family. Just do what you need to do, hit the gym, take care of you, because wellness and toughness happens on a spiritual level, it happens on a mental level, and it happens on a physical level, right? And one breeds the other. So that quiet time in the Bible, spend time with Jesus, that time is going to regenerate you and get you where you need to be. Come to me and I will give you rest. So if you do that and plan that, you're going to be a heck of a lot more effective.
The Bible also talks about taking the Sabbath and setting aside time, and talks about how the Sabbath was made for man. But something in there is that God worked 6 days and then he rested one. He didn't work like 4.5 and rest 3.
Right. 100%. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you train your mind the same way that you train your body?
Like I said, one feeds the other. The spirit trains the mind trains the body. They all work in conjunction together. I have this Venn diagram where if one is lacking, the other one has to blow up, and then everything's off balance. So it's just a matter of you train your mind by going through things that are going to challenge your mind. You do cognitive drills. It might be a conversation with an individual that will challenge you mentally. Something that nowadays, it's anything that takes you away from a screen will actually challenge and help your mind. Do a puzzle. Go play chess. Do something tactical that makes you think a couple, 3 steps ahead of wherever it is you're right now, or wherever it is you're at right now. Take that quiet time in your office and sit there and just stare at a whiteboard and just wait for something to come. And a lot of times something will, and then all you got to do is just start managing those thoughts. It's throwing spaghetti on a wall and seeing what sticks. And eventually it'll start opening up into something that makes sense to you. And then you can start prioritizing and binning those things, like scrumming, right? It's the same type of thing. It works in business, it works in the military, and you train your mind just like you train your body. You just have to work those muscles, man.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. And I see this with military families during PCS moves or major life changes. The ones who stay disciplined and not emotional always come out stronger on the other side.
Big time. We have emotions for a reason, and I think that's an issue too with the military folks, is that you end up suppressing and compartmentalizing all of your emotions and not really addressing them, and that can lead to problems. Whereas if you suppress them somewhere, it's got to be filtered in a different direction somewhere else, and a lot of times that comes out in anger towards people that really don't deserve it. And then you talk about the fruits of the Spirit, right? You cruise into that self-control world. So it's an exercise in self-control to have emotions, understand what they are, have feelings, and that it's okay. It's just you need to understand how to control them within the moment, so that way the rest of the fruits can still come out.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Faith isn't always an easy topic, and it's not always easy to talk about it in business and in the marketplace. And you seem to have successfully blended the faith, conviction, and battlefield experience in a way that is authentic and not preachy.
Right.
How has faith anchored your decision making in environments where uncertainty, chaos, and pressure were constant?
Oh my word. It's been absolutely instrumental. The thing is, man, is that in order to be humble, at some point you have to have been humbled. Pride and ego, big for me. And I got checked every single time and have lost things that I shouldn't have. I've hurt people that I shouldn't, and they're very incredibly hard lessons learned. And the thing is that my job isn't to point fingers at this, that, and the other. All I can do is point towards Christ, let him lead me. And then it's just one of those things where is what I'm doing helping or hurting the kingdom? So if I can look at what I'm doing and answer that as a yes or a no, that's going to help guide my decision making. And then when I'm under a pressure cooker, I can't tell you how many times in combat I took a knee and said, Lord, I need you here. Can't do nothing without you. And then he's come through in major physical manifestations. Same thing in training, same thing in life. Like he's saved me so many times. Why he's saving an undeserving person like me is beyond me, right? So all I can do is sit down and give it all to him and make sure that all of my decisions and everything that I do from today on, don't dwell on the past, right? The past is over, and the enemy wants to bring back your past over and over again to make you stifled for whatever it is that God has planned for you for the future. Now, as far as bringing it out and talking to people, good grief, man. Deny him in front of the people, and I'll deny you in front of the Father. That's all I need, right? That's all I need. And I think it was an interview with Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus in Passion of the Christ. I can't remember who he was with. It might have been Sean Ryan or something like that. But he said, what matters more? It's the accolades and the thoughts of what people think or what God thinks. Right? I'd rather have my name written in the Lamb's Book of Life than in the history books here on planet Earth. Not to say that I deserve that in any way, shape, or form, but at the same time, it's not about pleasing people, it's about pleasing God. And if you do that, people are going to turn against you. And that's fine. You just have to be okay with that. And that's walking through where he says, be bold and be courageous. That's what I'm going to do. Because what he thinks is more important than what people think. And if that loses me business, I don't care. God will still provide, man.
Yeah, that's so true. What do you think servant leadership actually looks like when the stakes are high?
I think it comes down to caring. If you care about the people, you understand them, and you have to understand you as a leader are actually the ones serving the people as you lead, having that mentality, and then leading from the front and trying to be as knowledgeable as you possibly can on whatever issue it is that you're doing, and making sure that you're doing everything you can for your folks and for yourself to be better for the folks. You're going to be heading in the right direction. So under pressure is the exact same thing as not under pressure. And that's the big deal with weight training, with your walk with Jesus. The big thing is consistency. Just be consistent and you'll be all right.
That's good. And yeah, that resonates with me a lot. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no worries.
You've led teams in combat zones and now in the private sector. What principles carry over no matter the environment?
I'd say resilience, humility, and strength. All of that ties in and carries over because you need that for survival. And again, I go back to Jesus being the ultimate example of that, right? If you're hurting in one way or the other, it's, hey man, was there a point in time where he dropped that cross when he was dragging it to go and be nailed to it? No, he never did. He kept driving. All the people that were scoffing at him, everything like that, he's literally our ultimate example of the ultimate tough guy and resilience. So what we try to do is we're trying to sanctify ourselves and be more like him. And if we want to do that, then studying him, being with him, having a relationship with him, and understanding what it is that he laid on the line for all of us and everything that he was trying to teach us. and then follow on through Paul and John and everybody else that put inputs into the Bible.
Yeah. Coming into an organization, how do you build trust fast?
I think you were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. It's a ratio, right? Is you listen twice as much as you talk. I think if you want to have the most impact, I would say have a command presence as far as bringing confidence and not fear. I always tell folks, and I got this laid out to me, was that when you walk into a room, you're going to bring one of 2 things, and that's either war or peace. When you look at the armor of God, what are the boots of peace, right? So where you step, that's where peace should come. Now, I'm not saying don't prepare for war, because that's part of peace, because you have to be prepared, right? It'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Yeah. So that's Musashi. So yeah, man, it's just bringing peace where it's at, listening twice as much as you speak, and be understanding of the environment and the people that are in there. Truly listen and lead with your heart. And not the one that's going to deceive you, but that heart that he's renewed in you and built you, and bringing passion to what it is. Show that you care. Man, when you go up and step and talk in front of people and they can see and feel that you really do care, because you can't fake authenticity, man. I know that's a buzzword of the day, but you can't fake being real. People can see through that. So if you go up there and you're talking literally out of your heart and work and using your mind and putting your spirit and putting everything you got into it, people are going to start to hit that I believe button a heck of a lot quicker, because you know that you're not out there for you. You're out there for everyone, right? High tides raise all ships. So be the tide.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. Yeah. So lots of people talk about resiliency, and it's a big word that a lot of people don't, I think, fully understand. What does that mean to you?
Honestly, that's like the tagline of Divine Savagery, man, is we build resiliency. Okay. So what does it mean? I want to be something that's a part of something that won't break, right? To be an indestructible fortress as a person and as an organization, depending on what that organization is. So what does that mean? That means that you do need protective walls around it, and those gaps need to be looked at. They need to be plugged. We need to be honest with ourselves and say, okay, here are our weaknesses, because that's something other people don't want to talk about. What are your strengths? I don't care about your strengths. I care more about your weaknesses, because I'm going to build them up and make them strengths, and that's how I'm going to plug the gap. If everybody's honest with themselves, which it starts with the head shed, right? The tail's going to follow the head. If the head shed is humility, is humble, whoever's in that front office is humble, steps out of the ivory tower and walks around and just talks to the folks, not like Lumberg or something like that, right? But not ruling with an iron fist. Again, it's one of those things. When you walk in, are you bringing war or are you bringing peace? If you walk in and you hear almost like a pressure release, that's what you're looking for, right? And that's what's going to get you headed in the right direction. And you're going to build resiliency by being real and by chasing hard things.
Being real and chasing hard things. I've heard that a couple times come up here.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You're also a record-holding powerlifter and performance coach. Talk to me about the connection between the physical discipline and the leadership.
Yeah, I was always a big believer that I'm going to find out everything I need to know about a person about how they train in the gym. And we, in the spec ops world, tend to be extreme individuals. And I'm always trying to chase something or be good at something. So when it's time to put the guns down, do something to find your passion. It could be art, it could be animals, it could be business, it could be anything. I chose strength, and I saw some people go into running, some people go into fighting. People do their thing, that's fine. But I wanted to go into doing something that's actually going to benefit everybody. And then once I saw how I was able to find a system, the conjugate system through Westside and Louis Simmons, and applying that to me, and it started fixing my bumps, bruises, and owies, I was like, I have to share this, right? I have to get the word out and let people know that there is a system out there built to actually help build you. And that's the thing is, I think Mark Bell said, the strength is never a weakness, right? So for me, I just go on the extreme end because I want to find out how strong I can actually get. And through this system, and in doing so, it's literally healed most of my physical pain. And the harder you push yourself in the gym, the harder it builds your mind, because it takes a heck of a lot of mental strength to be able to go in, day out, disciplined, don't miss days, don't miss training sessions, don't miss sleep, don't miss meals, to stay disciplined and stay on track. And I found, at least for me, that as long as I have that going on in my life, I can have a dumpster fire going on around me and everything else will be okay. But iron therapy is a thing for me and it works for me. But I also saw that fitness and wellness affects absolutely everyone. If it affects everyone, I want to be able to help everyone and take and scale what it is that I'm doing to a housewife, a kid, someone coming up as an athlete, but also can be used at the elite special operations level and professional athletics and everywhere in between. And it's funny thing is, just by understanding the human body. Now, Louis Simmons always said you had to understand, in order to understand training and how to make people their most optimal, you got to understand biomechanics, physics, and mathematics, and how it applies to the body and how it applies to moving it in motion based off of the 6 things that a human body can do. As long as I can get you tailored to doing those 6 things based off of whatever it is that you want to do in life, I'm going to get you going the right way. So even if you're waxing a chair with your rear end for a job, as long as you can get to the gym, I can help you with your back, because chances are your back's hurting because you're hunched over in a chair, you're typing on a computer, you're very anterior chain dominated, which we are as a society anyways. Nobody ever asked you, how much can you bend over barbell row? They always ask you how much you bench. Not that matters, but it's just a domination, or it's just that's what's dominated the society, is something that we do is push instead of pull. If we start training our back, guess what? That don't hurt so much anymore. So it's literally taking that discipline, that everything that I got from the military, mixed up with everything that I've got from Westside, how I've applied it to myself, and then be able to hope, inspire folks to go and hit the gym and make that a consistent part of their daily life, because it will help them move into age a little bit less painful.
Oh, that's nice. Do you have one simple discipline that people could start doing today?
Yeah, it's making a choice. Everything in life is a decision, right? So the one thing you can do today is find one thing that you need to get better at and choose to go do it. Just one thing. And if you do that every day, eventually that's going to lead into you being something pretty special. You want to become part of the 1%, you got to choose to be better at something every day. So pick that one thing, choose, and then go from there. I always tell people too, man, is that be that person that when your feet hit the deck in the morning, all of hell goes, oh no, they're awake.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Is there a specific book or principle that has shaped you?
Yeah, Bible.
Yeah.
The book, my man. The
Right.
book. That's what shaped me. All the stories of people that have messed up just in a very similar ways that I have, and the way that they've either turned around or not, and taken the lessons learned out of that. It's a love letter to us of how to do life, man. There's no better manual, and everybody gets caught up of they start with in the beginning, and then once they hit Leviticus and Numbers, your mind's in Exodus. You're like, what the heck is happening right now? But that's not how you read the book. You know what I'm saying? Just start with Matthew, throw in a proverb and a psalm in there, and there's daily devotionals out there too. But you stick your nose in that every day, and it's going to get you going in the right direction. Hopefully, that spawns a more of a big read into it, because you want to talk about the biggest epic tragedy, comedy, just it's got it all, man.
It does.
It really does. So that's the one that shaped me the most.
Oh, thank you, Tommy. And thanks for your service and for your leadership, and you're willing to speak truth in a world that often avoids it. For those listening, if they've gotten something out of today's discussion, how do they connect with you? How do they find you?
Oh, sure. Easiest ways, email Tommy at divinesavagery.com. You can find me website, www.divinesavagery.com. We're in a little bit of a renovation there, but you can still contact me via that. You can hit me up, Tommy Richardson on LinkedIn, Tommy Richardson on Facebook, and raise.your.horn on Instagram.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And as always, this is the Falls Homefront podcast, where leadership, service, and community still matter. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Appreciate you tuning in. Want more insider tips on buying, selling, and investing in Wichita Falls and North Texas? Subscribe now and keep watching. Your next move starts here.